This one has been on my radar for an awfully long time. And as I was watching it, I had this overwhelming feeling of what's the point of all this? Because what the Bike Riders does is it seems to borrow from, I don't say steal, but borrow from slash be inspired by a manner of brilliant movies. It's very much got an Easy Rider Americana vibe. It very, very much, I think, wants to position its characters in the grandiose light that the gangsters of something like a Goodfellas were were magnified with. And it uses interesting storytelling devices such as the interview mechanism from things like Interview with a Vampire to great effect. Mush this all together and it created something that was really engaging. And very rarely in a review will I start with an overwhelming big negative, but don't worry, from here on end it's all going to be positives. Let me just get this one negative out of the way, because despite all the positives that I'm going to talk about in just a moment, um, there was one overwhelming, inescapable negative I found, and the movie did a very good job in almost hiding that again because of all the positives I'm about to mention. Is that kind of nothing really happens in this movie. And by happens, I don't mean that the characters don't go through some stuff and that there isn't an interesting story to be told, bolstered up by some great performances. All of these things are true. But looking at something like Goodfellas, you could levy the same type of argument that I'm saying. Well, it's just a bunch of gangsters sitting around talking about some gangster stuff. Yeah, but that's mapped around something historic like the Lufthansa crime heist, Casino, the fall of Las Vegas, and there didn't really seem to be. Let me put it this way: there didn't really seem to be a reason for me to one care about this bike gang, and I know this sounds mega negative. Keep watching. There didn't seem a reason for me to care about this bike gang, and I never at any stage really felt that. Okay, so we've got this bike gang. What do they actually do? Like, we know that they're bad men and you don't mess. But what do they do? Like, they have chapters and they have a hierarchy within the gang. But what do they do? Like, why am I meant to feel like this bike gang is a big deal? And I'll be honest with you, I don't think the movie answered that question. And you may be thinking, well, Jesus, Nico, that's kind of a big thing to leave out when the whole movie is about a gang, to not know what the point of the gang is and to not know why they're important. It's kind of a big omission, isn't it? Yeah, but here's the thing. Everything else just works so goddamn well. And let me just get this. Can we please start off by talking about the performances? Because the three leads in this, Jodie Comer, Austin Butler, and Tom Hardy, are on such fine form, each of them. I mean, I do think that despite the three brilliant leads, this may not come as a surprise to anyone. I do think this is still Tom Hardy's movie. He is such a freaking force of nature. Um, but yeah, it's just when I say this was Americana, as you can see from the shots on screen now, it really captured that great spirit of freedom that the chopper can provide. I don't know why I did Arnie there. Um, it manages to also portray the period with excellence. I really felt like I was in 1965. Well, mid to late 60s going through to the early 70s. And I'll tell you what, Jodie Comer deserves a world of credit because the interview mechanism is actually shot through her perspective, talking about her life involved with the Vandal Bike Gang. And I tell you what, she really made the decade and period come alive because of, well, the way her character was presented in terms of makeup and, wardrobe, sure, but her mannerisms, her tone, everything really made me feel like, okay, yeah, I'm in 1960s here. 100%. I can feel and breathe this. So they captured that great sense of freedom well. They captured the period so damn well. The acting, my God, the acting in this movie is on such a level. It's crazy. Everyone is brought their A game in this movie. And that's why I say, despite the fact that nothing much happens, you could look at it in a kind of platitude way and frame it as something like showing the rise and fall of the core of an OG bike gang at the turn of the decade. It's like that would be an accurate, albeit kind of flat way of describing this movie. As I keep on saying, nothing much of anything happens on a grand scale in terms of highlighting why this bike gang should be important. But when everything else works so goddamn well, it's not a visual noise thing. You really are just left kind of there going, you know what? Maybe this isn't meant to say anything big, and it's meant to just perfectly encapsulate what Easy Rider did. You know, the great open road, that sense of brotherhood, that sense of truth and integrity and loyalty that these guys have towards each other and to their colors. It's yeah, man. Like I really loved this film. I really, really did, top to bottom. Brilliant soundtrack. Like you could see where it was going in terms of plot, so it didn't give you a lot of surprises, which is why, for the reasons I've said, this movie's obviously not getting a perfect score, but it's gonna rank highly, man. And it's nice to see because I was in a cinema that was pretty full, and I don't live in a particularly populated area anymore, former London boy, but it's nice to see that Tom Hardy still has some pull because people clearly, as well as Austin and Jodie, of course, but people clearly showed up because he's one of the few marquee actors who can still draw a crowd in 2024. And guys, I think you could do a lot worse than going to check out the Bikeriders. It nails it. It nails that sense of brotherhood. It really encapsulates perfectly what being in a bike gang is, how violent it can be in some parts, how treacherous and tension filled it can be when gangs go up against each other. And it really encapsulated that feeling of a group of people who didn't have anything and who found something in each other. And to that end, the movie's kind of beautiful, albeit violently beautiful. So it is with absolutely no qualms that I'm going to score the Bikeriders an 8 out of 10. I think it's fantastic. Yeah, I'll put it up there as one of my movies of the year. I think it fails massively on a kind of wider plot front, but everything else is just boom, knocks it out the park, man. Love this film. Really recommend you see it. Are you going to see it based on this review? Well, let me know down below. And once you have seen it, also let me know down below, what did you think of it? Did you see what I meant by the whole wider plot thing? And if you don't agree with me, that's fine. Just play nicely, okay? But yeah, guys, I've got a review for Inside Out 2 coming tomorrow, and I'll try and squeeze in that new Something in the Water shark movie at some point this week too. Keep on saying it, but stay tuned for my big Lord of the Rings thing with BBC Radio 2's RJ Borge. There's a subscribe button there and another video for you guys to watch up here, so please go ahead and do all that goodness. Stay tuned for the Inside Out 2 review. Thank you as always for watching, and I will see you back here tomorrow on the Silver Screen Dudes. Bye for now.